some reason, Vancouver just produces really good League of Legends players.
I think Canada is really progressive, and that kind of lets us be more accepting to the whole esports idea.
We actually have two of the best collegiate league teams in the world right now. We have both SFU and UBC here.
League of Legends, a couple years ago, it wasn't as big as it is now. The Vancouver esports scene, it's still growing.
We all live in the same city, and sure, there are competitive rivals, but at the same time, they're kind of like family in some way because they live close to us.
I really enjoy the community that was grown and the types of people that I've gotten to meet and the connections there.
Welcome to the first uLoL Campus Series Icebreaker.
It's the UBC uLoL Icebreaker party, so it's just kind of a place where esports community can come and hang out and have fun.
We brought a lot of different schools. There are a bunch of people watching the game right now. There's people playing board games. We got a pool table. We got an air hockey tables. We're making this fun.
Well, of course, both the UBC and SFU teams are here at this event. There's also cosplayers, some streamers, artists who are showing off their artwork. So we want to get them together and celebrate what we have here for esports in Vancouver.
So it means a lot to us because we get to see the collegiate scene expand and grow, and then we're a part of it.
It's really nice watching games together with everyone because you feel like less of a nerd when there's other people there who are excited about things with you.
The fact that we can bring this many people out to an esports event that UBC isn't even playing in is really huge.
There's a lot of really strong players here, and there's a huge community and support for the teams here. So it is kind of one community in Vancouver area.
Everyone is really tight-knit, and it's just a really warm experience.
Though we're rivals, we can still have a good time. Doesn't mean that we hate each other.
This year, SFU and UBC have been a lot more connected, especially because our teams are so strong in the uLoL Campus Series. Compared to past years, we've definitely grown a lot closer, and I know the players especially are pretty close.
After last year's tournament, a lot of us thought we would quit playing. We all just realized how special of a moment last year was, like going to LA playing in the NACC, and it's really like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But for us, I guess we're lucky, so we might get to do it twice. That's something we didn't want to give up on.
That was kind of a heartbreaker last year. Being knocked out, we walked away with nothing.
UBC and SFU are crosstown rivals, and we've been playing against each other for the past 2 years. Just in our conference, I think the only team that even has a chance of taking a game off us would probably be SFU.
We both know that we're the biggest obstacles for each other.
It's like a healthy rivalry. Since it's just been so close and we're in the same region and it's kind of we're both fighting for representing Vancouver, there's no bad feelings. It's just we want to beat each other.
The teams seem pretty passionate about playing, and they take it pretty seriously, which is really cool.
Now we've had awesome people like Carmen come on and really drive the collegiate scene and really make our team top-notch.
I feel this is probably the strongest we've ever been. Last year, I thought we were pretty good as well, but this year, yeah, I think we're a lot stronger.
This year, we're trying to create a bit of a legacy, I guess. We want to be remembered as one of the best collegiate teams to ever play.
Probably gonna be about the best team in the uLoL Campus Series, eh? For sure.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the uLoL Campus Series. We're coming at you live from Southern California, and as you might have noticed, it's Canada Week. I'm Mountie Seder-Omer, and joining me is my good friend Aiden Zyrene Moon.
I can't believe you did this. I'm not your friend, buddy.
I'm not getting involved in this. This is the uLoL Campus Series, and we're excited to be bringing you our very thrilling match of the day. It's going to be University of British Columbia versus Simon Fraser University. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the Campus Series standings. This is week 3. Last week, we saw some very exciting games, and you'll see a lot of 6 points on that bracket.
Of course, 6 points means that you have won all 4 of your games, two BO2s, so that's worth 3 points. If you split the series, you get 1 point, and if you go 0-2, you get 0 points. So as you can see, some people already undefeated in this tournament. But, of course, and the way things work, we had 500 teams back in November. They've been narrowed down to the top 32, 8 in each conference. Top 4 from each conference advances to the conference finals, or the conference playoffs. And then the winner of the conference playoffs represents their conference, their region, in the uLoL Campus Series Championship, where they fight to see who is the best college NA.
Yeah, these players will be fighting for a piece of a $660,000 prize pool in scholarships. Very prestigious. As you can see, we've already gone through our first 2 weeks. Today, we're going to see University of British Columbia versus Simon Fraser University. And before we get into that match, we've actually got a couple of highlights from last week's games to get us psyched up for this upcoming games. First up, at number 5, we have Ohio State University with a 3v5 Baron Pit massacre.
Go, Zing. I got you. Yes! Hit him.
Next, at number 4, we have a great play by York University that shows how to close out a game in style.
Zach. Come on, Zach. Woo! My boy!
At number 3, we have University of British Columbia showing off their calculated team fight prowess.
This is pretty big, bro.
Pillar in here.
Just pillar.
Good.
I got my all down. Okay. Backline, go.
Okay.
Right here.
Yep.
Come on, baby.
Callista. Wrong guy. Kill Callista.
Got him.
Okay.
Nice.
One dead.
Okay, mid. Woo! Let's go, dude.
The number 2 play shows that getting a pentakill doesn't have to be hard. Harvard University's Justin Shen makes it look easy.
Oh, there.
Zach's jumping.
All right.
Watch Lucian. I'm on Lucian. Please kill front line. Expose them. Quadra kill.
Oh, penta.
Where is he? Get him.
Right here.
And our number 1 play of the week is a perfect example of next level Mad Life hook predictions by RMU's mini bestie.
For the most part, it's so easy.
But no assault might be in a tricky situation.
If he can hold out, oh, leaps it, the play backwards. He's still taking a lot of damage, but goes down to heaven.
For more info on the uLoL campus series, head over to ulol.leagueoflegends.com. Some very exciting mechanics there, but if you think you can do better, 1v1 me, bro. Check out the 1v1 marksman only challenge at a local university near you to try to win your own luck in this tournament. You'll get a chance to win our newest champion, Jin, along with some RP and IP.
Yes, and even if you just participate, all participants receive a chance at a mystery champion reward and 10 wins of IP boosted. So I think that that's a great thing, because even if you don't think you're going to be able to win it, you might be a low ELO player, I still recommend that you go find the nearest college campus club to you at ulol.leagueoflegends.com and participate. You might meet some friends, you might meet some people to duo queue with. Dynamic queue now is out. So I definitely think that this is something that you should take an opportunity up on. So
yeah, it'll be very exciting. But now that means we can finally get to our marquee matchup. Again, it's University of British Columbia versus Simon Fraser University. First up for UBC, we're going to run through their roster real quick. In the top lane, it is going to be DJJ, that's the guy. In the jungle, it's Proof of Payment. In mid lane, Bob Chin returning, the Pentakill King himself. On AD carry, it's Heat Waves. And support, previously Remy, now known as 734.
Yeah, changing up the name. Remy, not to be confused with the Remy from Renegades, is the returning support for UBC, now named 734. But of course, every member on this team is actually a returning member, and they're the defending champions with the exact same roster from NACC 2015. They walked away with a lot of scholarship money last time, so they're looking once again to make sure that they can pay off some of those student loans and tuition. But I want to go across the rift here and talk about their rivals, Simon Fraser University. Simon Fraser University, in the top lane, we have Shock. In the jungle, we have Talk, Play, Love. And in the mid lane, we have Demnis with AD carry. That's going to be Paunchy. And then on support, it's Jay Jail. Hopefully we see no lens flares today.
Yeah, that's the big hope, that Jay Jail, distant relative of a certain director of many films.
Oh man, I love Steven Spielberg.
We could find out. But these two teams, they've got a long history together. They are crosstown rivals. Both of these teams are based in Vancouver, only about an hour away from each other. And they actually go very far into tournaments together.
Yeah, they do. This is actually a rematch of NACC 2015 quarters, where UBC 2-0'd Simon Fraser University and stopped them from coming into the live event and miss out on what UBC got at the end there with that trophy.
Yeah, UBC, again, they won the NACC 2015, made top 4 in the NACC 2014, and then won the uLoL Lone Star Clash number 3.
Yep.
So this is a very prestigious team.
Well, on top of that, they're trying to form this legacy. Like you said, top 4 in 2014 for NACC, number 1 returning champions from 2015 in NACC. They also won an international tournament for colleges in the offseason where they represented North America, and they 2-0'd a Korean college to win that. So they're champions in 3 different things, with Lone Star Clash being the 3rd one. So these guys, they're talking about making a legacy. I think it's already happened because they're the new hotness. Well, before, it was University of California, Irvine. They had Vitine as AD carry. He was number 1 in the ladder for a while. They had Redoron. They had all of these guys, Pon Gypsy and stuff. So they were a big force to be reckoned with, and then a LeBlanc player back in the day. So UCI kind of fell off the map. They aren't doing too well. They're trying to get their roster back together and everything. But now UBC, in those last 2 years, they're just going up and up, and they still have the same roster. So if anything really changes, then it's reason to be concerned for the players. But I know that like Die Gerger's been out of the game for a little bit here, trying to come back in. Main shot caller of UBC, but he's relied a little bit on Proof as of late to back him up on calls, make some calls simultaneously as he gets back into the swing of Season 6.
Exactly. Things do bode well for University of British Columbia so far. They're 4-0 in their first 2 weeks, but so are their opponents, Simon Fraser. So inevitably, we're going to have a defeat in this game. To my knowledge, it is not possible to have a draw in League of Legends.
1-1.
Well, yes, over the course of the series.
Yes,
yes. But again, as you can see on your screen, we're in picks and bans. We're running through the bans right quick. Poppy, Tom Kench, and Lysandra taken from Simon Fraser. Rise, Graves, and Gangplank banned away. Oh man, that barrel in the highlight reel did 2,400 damage. No surprise to see that taken. And now Elise locked in for Proof.
Elise locked in. This actually leaves a lot up. Lulu's still on the table to be taken by SFU if they want to run a Lulu composition and play around Ponchi. But the Elise here for Proof. I know that he was a big Elise player for a very long time, as well as a Rek'Sai player. And I think that having him on that early game force, and that she also has really good mid-game pick potential, is going to help him out. And also, he usually comes up to DJJ's lane in the top, usually ganks for him. And I think that, if you get the shot caller ahead and he's a top laner, he's a better grasp of the TPs, a better grasp of the map as a whole, and what he can do to affect it. But I think the Fiora pickup, if they do take that against him, might put a little bit of wrench in that plan because she gets so strong mid-late game that it ends up being a big problem for somebody who wants to kind of command his team around.
Yeah, it is a very big powerhouse. Fiora has been playing exceptionally well, and again, this is on patch.
She's been playing fantastically.
Exactly, yeah. People have been playing her to great extent. This game is being played on 6.1, so Fiora not receiving the slight tweaks to her targeting reticles just yet.
Yeah, that's 6.2, where things are random right now in 6.1 for her vitals, and it's supposed to be bottom left. If one of those are attacked, it will spawn right or top because it's the way that top lane is kind of oriented. So the idea is I hit one on the bottom or the left, and then I have to pursue in order to get the next one. And then if I get that one, I have to fall back. And if I want a fourth one, I have to pursue. So it's supposed to feel like a fencer, right? It's supposed to feel like you're dancing around your opponent. But that is not in just yet. But just so you guys know, that is how it works in 6.2.
Exactly. So Fiora Lulu picked now for Simon Fraser University. Alistar and Corki locked in for University of British Columbia. There's a chance we could see that Corki in the mid lane, but likely going to be going to Heat Waves.
Yeah, it's true. We could see this in the mid lane. We could see Bobshin go for an assassin. I know that he's regarded as the best player on this roster, and they have multiple challenger players, right? DJJ, Proof of Payment was in challenger. A lot of these guys have competed. They haven't gotten too far in challenger, but the thing is that's what collegiate is all about right now. They're for players who are at universities who want to make some money and go further with their education, and they don't want to be a professional player, and they don't want to put in the time for that because they have other aspirations. So right now, they're just using this to get towards that goal and get towards what they want to do with their life, which right now is play some video games.
Exactly. And speaking of playing video games, it looks like Trundle now locked in along with Callista. That's going to be for Ponchi. And I don't think we're going to see that Trundle in the top or the mid lane. Looks like it's going to be support to go down bot with JJL.
No, there's also a reason that Trundle doesn't really have any gap closers because he's very strong when he does get to you. So throwing in a Trundle is deceptively good. When you throw a Trundle into somebody, it throws him into a fight. He's got a much longer range on his pillar initially than what you would have expected. The pick that he can pull off is great. They can also go with Disengage here because they have the Lulu and because they have the Trundle. But you do have to worry about what their last pick is going to be here because their jungler is what's left. Right now, damage dealer-wise, you're seeing Fiora, Lulu, and then you're also seeing the Kalista. Not a whole lot of crit here. You're going to rely on a Kalista with no crit builds and just stacking up. Hopefully gets more time on the map from the Lulu, has shields and HP to give her more duration to stack up. But in terms of damage, you're looking at the Fiora, you're looking at the top laner here, you're looking at Shock, who may become a split pusher, but if this ends up being a team fighting comp, then they have to go up against double AD carry and Malphite. They have to go up against a composition that wants to pick, siege, and engage.
Scary answer from University of British Columbia. Currently Kindred being hovered, double AD carry. Good way to penetrate through a lot of those defenses while simultaneously keeping your own carries alive.
So Kindred is disabled for the LCS. I guess not disabled for the University LoL Campus Series because it's not disabled on live.
Yep.
But the bug is very, very hard to replicate. It usually happens in lanes as well on AD carry, so you won't see it too much from the jungle. But as we move forward, though, like I said, on the side of UBC, they have that pick, engage, and they have siege with mixed damage. You have the magic damage from Corki, you have the AD damage from Bob Chin on that Ezreal. Then you go over to SFU, well, they have a really skirmishy composition that does want to team fight you and play around that Kindred ultimate. They don't have too many tanks, but because of that, you're okay with fighting in a Kindred ultimate, and Kindred, I guess they, is going to give more tankiness to the squad. But you do have to watch out for the burst from the Malphite and everybody else following it up.
A very scary situation for Simon Fraser, but we want to know who you think is going to take the win. Tweet at uLoL with hashtag SFU win or hashtag UBC win, and we'll tell you your votes later on. This does look to be exciting. You know, these are two teams, neither of them have dropped a single game yet. They've picked some very powerful team compositions.
Yeah, and I think that both team compositions are suited to the players. On the side of UBC, Bob Chin is a highlight player for them. You want to give him the mobility of Ezreal. And then also Heatwaves, he was actually somebody who was added onto the roster last year, I believe, and he came up rather big. We had to learn how to play alongside Remy, or 7-3-4 now, and ended up being a good force for them in the 2015 NACC finals. So I definitely think that Heatwaves is another person you can rely on. And as DJJ gets back into the game, playing Malphite is pretty good. He loves to play Gangplank. He was a big Renekton player, Shyvana back in the day. So he likes to fight you. He likes to be able to take over the lane. So playing the Malphite into Fiora and being a teamfight engager and being the shot caller who has the go button is very good for him. And I think that pickup is just perfectly suited.
And we have heard a little bit about how he's had some difficulty with this shot calling. As you mentioned, he did take a break for a few months after winning the NACC 2015. So shot calling is a little bit more organic on their team now.
Yeah, they have a little bit more, people call it a democratic system, but I just call it, there's more people contributing. There's more voices adding information. And when the jungler is shot calling for the first 15 minutes for proof of payment side, then that always just helps. Getting more information is never really going to hurt you unless it's an overflow and everybody is talking and you can't process it all. But having clean, concise communication is important, and more people that are vocal, usually the better.
Yeah, we're certainly going to find out as we get ready to load onto the Rift for our game between UBC and Simon Fraser University. Very exciting matchup that we're going to get into in just a moment. Of course, we're running into a little bit of trouble, but this is UBC playing well. They've been scrimming a lot. They've been practicing many days of the week, and I'm sure most of our teams have been practicing a lot, but UBC in particular, they've been scrimming against challenger teams.
Yeah, well, they scrim challenger teams whenever they can. They actually competed in a couple tournaments in the off-season. I believe they were part of HTC Ascension for a little bit at the very, very beginning. And then from there, I don't even think they qualified all the way, but they have attempted to be in Challenger tournaments. I know that I've seen proof on a XDG for the Challenger series way back. And these guys, they're just very talented players. They also have a very talented coach in Heaven Time, who used to be a Challenger player and who used to have a great kind of effect on the games that he was in, because he was a jungler and he would go for kind of that mixture style, right? He wasn't just a big gank heavy guy. He also would do he would also be in charge of map movements and macro. So I'm excited to see what he's done with the team with this much time, because when he first was brought on, that was right around NACC 2015. So they didn't have too much time to actually work with him. So looking forward to what UBC bring out.
Yeah, speaking of gank heavy, UBC going for an early 4-man invade. Bobchin stayed in the mid lane to keep an eye on Dennis. And after getting a few wards and zoning a little bit out of that Kindred, looks like everyone's just going to back off, play it nice and safe. Though that does mean Simon Fraser did get to answer with a few deep wards of their own.
Yeah, Simon Fraser, though, of course, we keep talking about UBC being the returning champions, being this favored team, but SFU like we said previously, they made it to quarters. They lost in a best-of-3 to UBC, and this team is a force to be reckoned with. They're crosstown rivals for a reason, because they keep challenging each other. All the high ELO players in Vancouver know each other, and they play together, right? They play against each other in solo queue all the time. So these guys are friendly, but each team wants to win really badly.
There is definitely some hometown pride, being able to bring home the win. Well, not only for Vancouver, but for your university as well. We are seeing a lane swap initiated out of Simon Fraser. They send their duo to the top lane. It is spotted by UBC, and Gerger immediately headed into the jungle to catch up with Proof of Payment, just to keep get some experience flowing in, though JJ might be looking to trade out a little bit. They turn onto him, level 2 for Elise. That's a lot of damage traded back, but again, that's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and they get the CS, they get the jungle camp for the side of UBC, so not disrupted too much. And the lane swap is pretty much going as you would expect here. Standard, very, very standard lane swap protocol.
Seems like, as now, red buff secured by the double jungle of Simon Fraser, of course, being the ones to call the lane swap. They are going to be just a little bit faster. The duo now look to head to the top side of the map. Might be trying to secure that Scuttle Crab for Kindred before crashing the wave into the turret for an early shove. And it looks like DJJ is going to answer on the bottom as well.
Yeah, you always want to go for those stacks when you can, especially when they're the Scuttle Crab camp. And that's the best one as well for Talk Play Love. That camp literally is the best one that he could have gotten, because the whole other side of that jungle was clear, so it wasn't going to spawn there. And if it had spawned on the opposite side, well, you can't go there. And it's right on his way towards where top is, and he has control of the map. So really lucky on that one.
Yeah, things working out for Simon Fraser as they shove down this first turret as well. Ponchi activating recall, and it looks like Heatwave 734 and DJJ, they're going to try getting some early pressure onto this turret. Proof of Payment decided to go for an extra jungle camp. He's not helping out with this early turret shove, so this could be a little bit of trouble, but I think UBC are going to be just fine.
Yeah, it's a little different in terms of what the junglers are doing. I was talking about how it's rather standard, but now the junglers are just clearing the jungle, getting vision control if they can, but not contributing to actually pushing the turret. I'm interested in what happened to that top lane wave, if it's a freeze or not, because this bottom wave is going to get frozen.
Uh-oh, the turret goes down. Ponchi immediately turns onto DJJ for a lot of damage.
A lot of
Flashes
stacks
forward. It's answered by DJJ. Rend is not enough to kill him, but here comes the supports. They're going shoulder to shoulder to find their way to the bottom. Ponchi gets knocked up. He turns now on to 734. Proof has joined the battle along with Shock. It's 4v1 right now. Proof of Payment goes low. He goes down. It's first blood. 400 gold, Simon Fraser.
Yeah, and of course that's Canadian gold, so it's only worth about 280 US dollars. So he's gonna have to go back and see what he can buy with that. But you definitely want that first blood on your AD carry in this, because you have the Lulu, and you want to buff him up and make sure that he's doing a decent amount of damage towards that mid game. Because like I said, you're relying on that Fiora, but you want her to split push. If you get your Callista ahead, that's less times you actually have to call down the Fiora to help you in team fights.
So with that first blood secured, the wave gets crashed into the turret. Heatwaves and 734 are in a position to answer it, and DJJ actually teleports to the top to shove that wave into Fiora. Though I believe Talk Play Love, he just snagged away that camp for another stack. Things are looking good for Simon Fraser in this early game.
Yeah, 2 stacks over to him. He didn't end up getting any assist on the kill of Proof of Payment, but that was the person who was marked for him. No third stack, but it's only a 400 gold lead for Simon Fraser, despite it being a 600 gold first blood. Which is actually accurate, because there's assists on it.
A lot more gold being handed over.
It's not in Canadian gold this time.
So UBC are down just a bit in overall gold, and we're seeing that difference open up on the AD carries just a touch.
Yeah.
As Heatwaves he's got the wave push, though Ponchi should be able to catch a lot of this CS despite not having a turret. It is a 1-for-1 trade, though.
Yeah, you do have to worry as the AD carry of Ponchi, because he has no flash, he has no heal, they don't have exhaust. So if a pulverize after a headbutt comes out from 734, you're pretty much dead. And Heatwaves, you have to respect his wave clear, you have to respect the Phospho Bomb poke. And look at Ponchi. Ponchi has double buffs, but he can't go forward. He's got to wait for this wave. Proof doesn't look like he's going to come down here and try to execute a tower dive by the time this crashes against the turret. So maybe slightly missed opportunity because the flashes are down, and also the fact that Talk Play Love is not on this side of the map as well. So
a little bit curious, though. Yeah, Talk Play Love is finally going to catch it. DJJ and Shock again, trading waves in the top while the junglers continue to do their thing. Interestingly enough, Heat Waves, oh no, he was just going to try to secure some vision while his support recalls.
And the other thing that really is kind of confusing that Proof didn't try to come towards that bottom side of the map is that Tier 1 turret is down, right? They traded turrets in the lane swap, but he didn't go for it. He could have walked all the way around them, and it didn't look like they had adequate ward coverage to actually react to a play that would have come out that quickly. So there was a route into the jungle that he could have pursued.
Uh-oh, Shock is looking for
He's
a
level
ward,
6,
but
though.
he's going to be collapsed upon. Here is Proof of Payment. That blue buff still standing. Two-shot barrage from an early level 6 is not going to be enough. Shock riposte in. He dashes forward, takes a lot of damage with a knock-up onto DJJ, who's not level 6. Proof goes low, repels up, but Heat Waves has joined the battle along with 734. This turned into a 5v3 when suddenly it was just a 2v3. 734 gets some more punishment, but it's not enough to pick up any kills, though they might turn on to 734
Double AD carry.
here. They're turning now. Shock is running for his life. He flashes the auto attack homes, and Heat Waves is able to bring down that Fiora with an answer, and UBC with the fast map play.
Yeah, and they go 1-up kill here, and that's it. It's just 1-to-1. It's completely even once again. But now DJJ, he gets to catch a minion wave. He gets to make sure that this is frozen towards him. He gets to make sure that that Fiora has to go even deeper to get CS. And this could be a disaster here for SFU as things move forward. DJJ was behind in levels. Right? No level 6 yet, and that fight still went the way of UBC, despite being at a disadvantage in that category.
We might be seeing some of this legendary prowess of UBC returning after that early snafu in the bottom lane.
Okay, so DJJ, it's not going to freeze. There weren't enough minions there, because in order to have it freeze at your tier 2, you need a substantial amount. I think you need maybe 4 more casters. It's quite a bit, and you need to be able to take them down maybe 1 more wave. Be like, I'll keep 3 casters in this next one. But you definitely want to have that advantage pushing towards you, but he still hits level 6, so it's pretty much back to even now. CS just missing out on 2 in that top lane.
As you mentioned, keeping even in CS in that top lane. Heat Waves, though, building a slight advantage for himself over Ponchi in that bottom lane.
Yeah, in the mid lane, too, we do see both AD carries, Bobchin and Heat Waves. These are mid-game power spike champions. If they're able to get closer to that power spike earlier, just like Heat Waves has that kill and the CS advantage, and then you look over at Bobchin, he has the Sheen already and he's got the tier, and he's up in CS. Ezreal's with tier usually shouldn't win early game at all, but he's having a really good early game here. And if you hit those spikes, like I said, that could be how you win this game as UBC. And that's why double AD comps are becoming so popular. That mid-game power spike, and Malphite doesn't need items to have a good ulti, right? You don't even need levels to have a great ultimate.
Yeah. Quick rotation sends the duo of UBC to the top lane. They're going to look for a turret. Meanwhile, Simon Fraser answer, taking the first dragon of the game. And Dijurger in the bottom. He's going to catch the wave being pushed in by Ponchi. Should be able to take this turret here as they've got a pretty sizable half of the wave. And Shock continues to roam around, just trying to soak XP from those dying minions.
Yeah. DJJ, though, 3 members of SFU coming to this bottom lane, trying to get this turret. As top lane goes down. Once again, we'll have to check on if that's freezing or not, or if they're just going to try to hard shove it. I think they're going to try to hard shove it because Proof is on that top side of the map. And they're going to try to rush for 2 turrets. Because you can get 2 turrets here. If Ezreal shoves forward, you make sure that Ezreal can push Lulu in. You get the inside track to go to top lane. You get 4 people on that top lane turret. And then this bottom lane, they're a little late for the recall because they took the turret a little bit later. So you're going to get some damage on this turret. I don't know if it'll be substantial, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, here comes the wave. Proof is ready. Shock trying to catch it as Talk Play Love and Ponchi head over. Heat Waves takes a lot of punishment from the turret. Man, you got to break aggro, force the Valkyrie out of there. Here comes the teleport from Demnis as he tries to catch up, but ooh, bit of a misplay from Heat Waves.
Yeah, Demnis, though, doesn't get the Glitter Lance to tag somebody, so that's going to leave Bobchin alone in the mid wave. You see he used a 2-shot barrage to try and clear it out faster, so he can either get a better back or he can get some turret damage. But I like that UBC went for that top lane turret. I just don't think the execution was just right. I think that you should have been attacking the turret. Heat Waves can throw some phosphorus bombs at Shock, but your goal really isn't to kill him. The turret's way more important, and I think with his damage on it, they maybe could have gotten it in that time. He's taking that many tower shots, so man, that turret just seemed like it loved him. It was all over
exactly
him.
right. And then he didn't break aggro. He just sat under it like I can.
Well,
he
was trying to. It was like I thought it broke aggro already because
then he went
he's
back
like
and
right
forth
on the
and back
edge
and forth.
of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always so tragic. Proof clearing out his jungle as best he can, trying to prevent any stacks from getting on that scary scaling Kindred. As it looks like Shock is heading now towards the bottom lane, and with that, it's 2 turrets down, 2-2. 1 Dragon to 0 in favor of Simon Fraser, but the gold lead in favor of UBC. It looks like 4 members. Oh no, 734.
He's got ulti.
Yeah, he is forced to flash away. He doesn't want to take any chances with 4 members of Simon Fraser in his jungle.
Yep. I think that DJJ wants to farm up a little bit more before he starts getting in these fights. Maybe get 1 HP item, and then missed out the pulverize there. Heatwave's in the top lane, so they don't actually have enough members here to really stop this siege just yet, but there aren't enough minions for SFU to continue this push.
Yeah, lots of good damage. Finds the turret, not enough to break it
down.
The Cocoon! This Cocoon finds Dockplay Love, and he goes down before getting a chance to drop the respite. UBC respond quick.
Yep. That's what happens, Kindred. You get stunned, and then you just get destroyed. It's very squishy, but oh man, that Cocoon was from downtown, and they might actually be able to get a turret here on UBC's side as an answer. Double AD carry with Sheens, they're no joke.
Yeah, they're shredding through right quick. Here comes the Cocoon. It's riposted back by Shock. Though the turret has gone down. That's UBC now 3-2 in turrets and the 2,000 gold lead after netting that kill.
Yep, good turret play there from UBC. They got a substantial amount of damage too on the top lane turret. So if they go Rift Herald, then they decide to shove up the top lane wave as they back, because I believe there's a Trinity Force in Heatwave's inventory now. I would believe so based on the items he has. And we'll see what he ends up buying when he backs. But stopping some backs right now. And that's the Muramana completed, or the Manamune completed for Bobchin. So Ezreal's hitting a spike right now. He'll end up getting the Iceborne Gauntlet, and I'll be his next one, but really curious about Heatwaves and the status of his inventory at this moment.
Yeah, Ezreal's coming online, as you mentioned. Diegerger getting nice and tanky as the game wears on, as we continue to see some trade. Proof goes very far forward, repels to a minion for safety, just to keep himself alive, and Shock setting up a freeze in that bottom lane. So we haven't really seen a lot of terrifically proactive plays from UBC. Rotating top to take the tier 1 and then shove the tier 2 was just about it. They've been responding well to Simon Fraser's
But that was a reactive play to shove to the second turret, but it's always a reactive play, right? You're making sure that they have to back, you're making sure that they can't push 2 turrets because you had a couple more seconds on your turret going down. Heatwaves, though, has Trinity Force, has the package. I think at this point right now in this game is where Corki's the strongest member on either team, strongest champion in the game. So use it. Make sure that you press this advantage, and UBC could break the game wide open off of 1 play that it looks like they're grouping up for right now.
Yeah, 4 in the mid lane, DJJ in the bottom with his teleport. As you mentioned, that package prepped and ready to go for Heatwaves. Not quite finding anybody just yet to be able to secure
top lane ping.
He could be looking for Panchi. He's got flash and heal to keep himself alive. No spooky ghosts to spot anyone out as the vision war has begun, and DJJ shoving awful far in the bottom.
Oh, he really wants to go after Callista. Oh, the package wore off. Yeah, so unable to use it, really wanted to. You could see it there, but it's just the dance back and forth. And now finally the Rift Herald is started for UBC. It looked like they pinged it a lot earlier than that, back before the Trinity Force even came out, but they didn't get the right back timers, and it took a long time for Heatwaves to actually find an opportunity to back. And DJJ, I don't know about dueling the Fiora right now.
Rift Herald secured by Proof. The remaining members of UBC escort him out. Heatwaves is the one who gets the Herald buff. Dragon respawns right now, though we're seeing a recall from 734, and Heatwaves heading to the top lane to catch the minion wave. They could trade over this Dragon.
Yeah. And you keep seeing Shock try to trade with DJJ. The last thing you want to do to a Malphite is trade and then let him get his shield back up again and then try to trade one more time. Now, this is the all-in, but here's JJ.
Oh, immediate unstoppable force. Flash to get away from the slow. Shock pursues with a flash of his own, but DJJ just walks to safety. Though those ultimates and summoner spells are going to secure Dragon number 2.
Yeah, when DJJ flashed, Shock probably should have held his, because DJJ not having flash ultimate is a rather big deal. The TP still means a lot for DJJ, but not being able to reposition himself and have that burst of repositioning to be able to jump in is a big deal. So Shock should have held his. Didn't look like they were going to be able to kill the Malphite anyway, with the duration of how much have been wasted of the Grand Challenge already. So,
well, I guess that is also the question. What is UBC looking for? They tried rotating top, weren't able to take it because of the vision from SFU. Now they've got the Rift Herald after sacrificing Dragon. They've got the strong power spike on Corki. What can they do with it?
Yeah, they haven't done much with it at all, but they can do a lot with it. You can go up to these turrets. I think that top lane turret is very susceptible to being killed by that Corki. If you throw out the rockets, you get the auto attack down. Bobchin, I'm not quite sure what he's going for just yet in his build, because he has the Sheen, but then he also has a longsword, so it could actually be a Trinity Force as opposed to a Glacial Shroud into an Iceborne Gauntlet. So it might be another Trinity Force killing tower build.
We'll certainly find out.
Oh my god, everybody's just going top from UBC, whereas everybody from SFU is trying to pile down the mid lane.
Yeah, it seems like we're getting a bit of a trade, though UBC are the ones who respond now, heading towards the mid lane. Vision is going to spot it out. JJL is very far forward. Cocoon narrowly misses. Swifty's not enough to get proof in range in time.
Oh yeah, Runic Echoes too, so he has a lot of movement speed. And as soon as he gets Dead Man's Plate and Rylai's, then that's where Elise actually still has a good mid game. And that's why we're seeing so much Elise. Great early game, and then with the addition of Runic Echoes and all of these new items that have come over time, Swifty's being popular. She has a great mid game with Cocoon catches. She's so fast. 80 carries really don't stand a chance. She's running around with like 490 movement speed, and they're at 390. So, becomes a problem.
A very tricky situation. JJL leads the charge with the rest of his team, relying on that Kallista's throw to get him into range for a free gap closer. Baron's up in 90 seconds as Bobchin continues to farm with his True Shot Barrage. No turrets have been taken since those tier 1s were traded earlier. But the turret advantage is currently in favor of UBC. Simon Fraser looked to answer. They're putting consistent pressure on that mid lane.
Yep. Now they have the TP and ultimate available from Daijurger. Previously, he did not have that ultimate because he used it to get away from Fiora, but he's up against Demnis in the bot lane, and it's a 1-3-1 from SFU. Because they have the double TP, they're just trying to make that play. But the problem is your mid lane, who's your wave clear? You have Callista, and you have Kindred, and then you also have Trundle. So up against this Ezreal Corki, it's rather hard to break a siege. So it takes a little bit longer.
Not quite enough. Yeah, Shock roams down to clear the way with this newly completed Titanic Hydra. Radovage is stacking on Demnis. Even an Eye of the Equinox for JJL as he just wants to keep vision, make sure he's not going to get caught by any stray cocoons or unstoppable forces. Bobchin being handed blue now in the mid lane. He's scaling up, as you mentioned as well. We haven't seen him recall in a while. He's been sitting on that Sheen for just a bit, so we'll see what he decides to turn that into.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what he goes for, because the longsword signals to me that it's a Trinity Force build. On top of the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, so we'll see what he goes for here as he backs.
Yeah, 20 minutes into the game.
It's still Iceborne Gauntlet. All right. Yeah. So, yep, still going for the blue build. Blue boots, blue build. Makes sense.
And it is a very strong build.
Yeah, it's the most common build. It's just every now and then somebody will go Trinity Force still. But the blue build is the best build if you're a good Ezreal. It's got a high skill cap on it, but it also makes you very punishable mid-game or early game with the tier. So I like the build. He's 40 CS up over his lane opponent, so despite being blue Ezreal, he didn't run into any power trough at all, and he's just going to get stronger from this point forward. So,
and this is what we expect from Bobchin, the guy who got the pentakill last year, the highest skill player on UBC. This Elise, though, doesn't have a lot of places to go. The slow lands, flashes a little bit late. They turn on JJL, but he dodges the cocoon. The poke from Heat Waves and Bobchin dissuade a fight.
Yeah, and this poke is so good. When you combine the Ezreal with the Iceborne Gauntlet alongside the Corki, you pretty much make rockets guaranteed to land.
Oh, they collapse. The knockback sends Shock flying. Go, they turn now onto 7-3-4. He might try to turn this fight around. He does. JJL gets dropped. Demnis running for his life. There's the lame respite. He runs out of it to try to escape from the onslaught of UBC. They're charging further forward. Bobchin drops Demnis, and UBC, they take 2 quick kills and they continue pushing.
You are fighting against a mid-game composition here from SFU. UBC, you don't want to fight them right now. They have the Iceborne Gauntlet. Muramana was completed during that. So he now has the full stacks. That's going to be 1 turret. I believe it'll be 2 turrets here because you just have so much damage with these AD carries, and they're just going to shred straight through it, and they might even get more kills.
Yeah, they're turning now onto JL. He gets destroyed. 734 is low. He's still alive for now, finally. No, he actually gets out with his life. They turn on to Talk, Play, Love. He goes down, a double kill for Heatwaves. Shock is trying to get in, but he just can't find an entry.
Oh, UBC are just going through the batting order here. Oh, look who's back. Demnis is back. They're going to go through him too, but they want this inhibitor down, and that's their main focus.
Yeah, Shock turns on to Proof. Heatwaves now finds Demnis on the side, gets destroyed. There's a riposte to keep himself alive. Shock is going to escape the sole survivor along with Panchi. A huge turn for UBC.
Wow, so the game just blows wide open off of a mid-game power spike push down the mid lane. And like I said, they went through the batting order. They got, what, did they get 5 kills out of that?
I believe it was 1-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was... Was it 1-1?
I thought it was.
It might have been. They got 6 kills or 5 kills. One of those two. I'm not 100% sure. I remember it being 1-1.
They definitely got more than 1 kill over the course of that fight. So with that mid inhibitor down at a 22-minute mark, Dragon has just respawned. Shock is going to try to rush it down. Proof of Payment is there, but at half health and with no smite. Smite. I don't think he's going to be able to secure it. So a good answer from Simon Fraser. This is number 3, but it's going to be another 12 minutes before that Dragon 5 makes it. And with this huge spike from UBC, that could be trouble.
Yeah, I think UBC, with this composition, are just in a great spot to continue to push. The top lane turret, tier 2, low on HP. We saw it from earlier. It's not going to regen any HP. And then the inhibitor in mid lane is down. You have a great opportunity to push this top wave. I think that's where your focus is. Ward up Baron, ward up that jungle, push the top lane wave, make sure that you can bounce back and forth, and then once you get those top 2 inhibs, you're able to actually make sure, or top and mid, you're able to make sure that Baron is much easier for you to do.
Ooh, JL caught window shopping, gets tabbed by Bobchin.
They might actually start up a Baron as well and try to deny vision with all the pink wards in their inventory. So it wouldn't be a bad plan either. It's basically inhibitors get you Baron, and Baron gets you inhibitors here. So whichever one you want to go for first.
I wish my teams played like this. I always talk about like, hey, we've got a lot of gold right now. I see you guys have slots in your inventory. Just buy pink wards. Just as many as you can, and we'll get the vision moving all across the map. But Baron is initiated by UBC. Looks like Simon Fraser are a bit slow to the draw. And this is Baron secured with no contest from SFU.
Yeah, they didn't have vision. They didn't have the appropriate tools to actually check it either. And walking out of your base without vision means that the Malphite can pretty much pick your team. The Elise could pick your team. So using your blue trinkets and just going through those is rather rough because they only had 2. Quite easy for them to stall it out and make sure that UBC ends up getting it 24 minutes in, 7-1.
Yeah, quick round of recalls puts UBC back in the driver's seat. They pick up even more items. That's going to be a BF sword for Bobchin, IE Edge completed, IE Edge, Infinity Edge. 2.0 for Heatwaves, yeah, 2 edgy 5 me. And with this Baron buff and middle inhibitor down, Simon Fraser are in a bad spot.
Oh, they're in an awful spot, especially since their composition against the one that UBC drafted. It's going to take more time. It's going to take more time, and you're waiting on Callista and Fiora to get to a point where they can kill AD carries who have a lot of mobility tools, so it's very difficult. And Callista even needs to be able to shred through DJJ in the top lane. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing a siege from University of British Columbia now in that top lane. The top tier 2 is destroyed with little ceremony as 734 polishes off the rest of the vision from SFU. The shove continues. The next wave going to crash in just a few seconds. Even Shock being pulled up despite having teleport. They don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, and UBC dropping that 1 kill from Proof of Payment so far. They look like they said they want to not drop a single game in this tournament. They might be on their way to doing it. They're going to be going 5-0 if this happens.
Simon Fraser might become 4-1 in this set, but it's not over till it's over, Aiden.
DJJ pushing the bottom wave, splitting. He does have ultimate. He does have TP. Talk, play, love, though. You have to watch for the Kindred ulti.
Oh my! Bobchin with the huge damage destroys Talk, play, love.
Sometimes you just don't expect that much damage to happen, but I said it before, and I'll say it again, Kindred is squishy. And if you don't get your ulti off, you're just gonna flat die.
Yeah, Bobchin's just as squishy on Ezreal, but doing enormous damage. True Shot Barrage cleans through us. Bobchin is single-handedly dealing with 4 members. They turn and group up just in time for the Wombo AoE combo. UBC clean up 4 kills.
Oh man, it was a Wombo combo. I'd ask where you at, but SFU, they're off the rift right now, and that's going to be UBC looking like they're going to take an early lead in this series.
Yeah, a huge win from UBC, a single death. Oh no, are they still going? The match just goes down 12-1 for UBC. A huge, this is amazing to see them playing at such good form.
Oh, 26 minutes in, and that's game. They played their mid-game composition perfectly. They got the Trinity Force power spike, they started to group up, and as soon as they took that very first fight that they kept going with, that's when the Muramana had completed it and the Manamune had transferred over. So really good timing of those types of plays, and I think that that's something that more people need to be conscious of, is when they're hitting their power spikes in comparison to the enemy. Because some teams, they'll let that power spike of the Trinity Force go to waste and not use it, and then other teams they'll do some other things. They'll end up not going in and it was 2-1. It was 2-1. Hey. Okay. But yeah, so now they just go back and forth here. It wasn't quite a pick right off the bat. And this is 21 minutes in. This is where they break the whole game wide open. Everybody groups up on this side.
Yeah, Bobchin, he's got the Muramano right now. It's just about to change over as the fight breaks out.
Yep, and then DJJ teleports in. He gets the knockup onto Shock on the side, and that's your big damage dealer pretty much negated from the fight. He's no longer able to go after AD carries. Proof just continues to go down, and Bobchin with these arcane shift forward all game long, and we go from a replay to a replay, but it's literally 10 seconds later because they just kept pushing. They got multiple turrets off of that push. They got the inhibitor, and they went through that batting order. They got, what was that, 5 kills? And they ended up killing 1 person twice. And it just ended up being
And the fact that they were able to
bloody.
do all of this without losing any members of their team. The game ends 12-1, taking it down over and over. The shot calling so crisp and clean, and the fact that the entire team is following it so cleanly. There's no hesitation as they all turn on targets 1-1.
Yeah, the only misstep for UBC was Proof at the start. Nice little pickup there with the rocket. But Proof at the start, that first blood going over, UBC did have to claw their way back from it, but what they did is they slowed down the game. That's when you say, slow it down, guys. You don't have to play that fast and loose. Make sure that we can get to our power spikes, and then you can go ahead and play fast again. So slowing the pace gets them their win here, and they go up 1-0 in this series in best of 2.
Yeah, as you mentioned, well on their way to that 5-0 and then soon to be 6-0 and hopefully undefeated win streak that they were hoping that they would be able to secure.
Yeah, UBC wants to establish the legacy of the University of British Columbia Esports, where they've just been dominant. We've talked already about how many tournaments they won with this collegiate lineup and how far they've gotten multiple times. So it's been 2015 was basically UBC's entire year from start to finish for collegiate tournaments. Now 2016, they're starting off on the right foot.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they can do the same in game number 2. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. More uLoL Campus Series action. We'll be right back.
to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the follow, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the uLoL Campus Series. And now I'm really wishing we had some fans so that we could get some dramatic air blown in here.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, well,
yeah, keep going. Yeah, welcome back to the University League of Legends Campus Series. my glasses!
Oh,
I need my glasses.
gotta put the glasses on. That was gold. Okay, but let's bring it back. Good to see that people are repping their collegiate League of Legends pride.
Shout out to them. That was amazing.
Exactly, yeah.
That was
And we got to talk a little bit more about this upcoming game. Game number 2 between UBC and SFU. We'll see if these guys can start bringing some pride in. UBC 5-0 right now, and SFU, they're on the back foot after that. They had 1 kill.
Yeah, SFU, it's got to be a little demoralizing because you started off on the right foot, right? As soon as you wound them and you get that 1 kill, you go, all right, guys, we can actually win this. There's a way to win this game. We're ahead right now. And they just slowly got closed up. They gave away that other kill and it went 1-1. And then from there, they just blew up the entire game when it hit mid-game. So UBC knew how to play against that composition, play the AAD meta correctly, and DJJ saying that he's a little bit out of the loop in terms of shot calling and Season 6 tactics. It just seemed perfectly fine there. There were some missed proactive plays where they're forcing turrets and they're forcing TPs, but they were really going for wait for the perfect one, wait until the power spikes, have one fight, win the game off of. Basically win the game off
The
of
reactions of UBC were clean and sharp as expected. And while they weren't quite able to be proactive around the map too much, they were winning team fights. They were coordinating. They were, as you mentioned, the batting order, getting those kill after kill after kill as FSU just streamlined in. At that point, you got to say, guys, I know you're up, but don't trickle in anymore.
Well, that's the thing is usually you want to, as soon as you're back up, you're like, all right, I got it. I got home guard. I'm running in past 20 minutes. And then you just ran to your death. Because you guys didn't group up again, and you guys didn't get back on the same page. So SFU, they had to regroup after that, and they didn't. So it was a pretty big failure.
Well,
in that
this
regard.
is game number 2 now, so we'll see if they can recover. Now, this is as you can see, the bans coming out. Gangplank and Poppy have been taken away. We'll see what else is going to follow it up for the next bans. But let's talk a little bit more about UBC. The fact that they are such a prestigious team, they had a player who took a break for, I believe it was 8 months, and now they're back on top.
I know that he's challenger.
Was it 8 months?
He's challenger. I don't know if it's 8 months exactly, but I know that
could be making up that number.
He's been. He hasn't played for 4 years.
What year is it?
Yeah, but he ended up saying that he's a little bit out of it. I think that what he meant by that is he's a little out of playing competitively.
Yeah, that might be it.
Not so much solo queue, because I know that he's been like 1,000 point, or not 1,000 point challenger, but really high up in challenger before. Same with Heatwave, same with Bob Chin. Bob Chin had an amazing performance in that game. His Ezreal was fantastic. And I was a little hesitant because in that opening feature that we had, it looked like he had a girl hanging all over him. And if I know anything about what happens when you're a good player and you get a girlfriend,
your ELO just tanks.
I don't know. It's like 1,000 ELO. Like
is it correlation or causation?
I don't know. It's probably just correlation.
Coincidence?
It's probably correlation.
Okay.
Right. They might be correlated because, like,
can we get a study done into this?
Yeah.
We're head over to ulol.leagueoflegends.com to get yourself a girlfriend and see if that will affect your MMR state.
Nope.
A girlfriend.
A girlfriend. Yeah, get yourself a girlfriend
or a boyfriend if that's what you're into.
uLoL. University.League of Legends does not actually get you a girlfriend.
I know. Little asterisk pops up on the bottom. But the club is responding well. You know, they are playing well. So even if he does have a girlfriend, we saw some some impressive play out of him.
I'm sorry I derailed this into that.
I
I
know.
apologize, guys.
But
So,
okay,
shout
so
out to
we're-
Bobchin. He had a
we're
really
back
great
in
game.
now. Looks like Graves and Tom Kench are banned out to follow that up. And as you can see on the bottom, the score is in fact wrong. There is a win point over Simon Fraser University.
Yes.
That is incorrect.
It belongs here.
Yes, it belongs on Aiden's side, not...
Yeah.
I'm trying to stick my hand under and...
Yeah, it's hard to... you're trying to pop it out of there? Go, put it over there?
Not
Yeah.
quite. It doesn't quite work out. So we're just going to go ahead and roll through the bans. As you all saw in the previous game, UBC took game number 1. Simon Fraser looking for game number 2 right now. Now, Rise is going to be banned away from UBC. It's up to UBC to answer. Fiora taken from Shock.
Yeah, that was kind of the big threat in the composition. Elise goes over and they immediately pick it up, so Proof doesn't get that champion. But it leaves Lulu up. Bobchin, he does play a really good Lulu. We'll see what happens here, but I think you can flex some things. Still a little bit open, but yeah. Oh my god, the Alistar for Remy.
Lissandra, Alistair locked in. 7-3-4. He's not Remy anymore.
That's true.
And then that's also a completely different person than Renegade's Remelia. Just want to set that as a reminder. Gets that Alistair once again. Lissandra locked in. Could be for Bobchin, could be for DJJ. We'll see where that ends up getting flexed to. And UBC off to a strong start with some pretty good CC on their team.
Yep, single target lockup here, so they're able to take down Ponchi and Demnis with squishy champions if they have them. So DJJ, I know that he's played Lissandra in the past. Bobchin pretty much plays everything in the game. Anything from assassins to utility champions, and he does a really good job on them. And UBC, like I said before, they're roster full of talent, and they still think that Bobchin is most likely their best member. So
now red side, they might get the opportunity to save him for last pick. Simon Fraser looked to deal with that CC lockdown. Thresh's Dark Passage, keeping people safe. That's going to be for JJL. And Talk, Play, Love. Looking at Lucian right now for Ponchi as the duo bottom lane is going to be locked in.
So this is a very strong bottom lane. Lucian very strong in the meta at the moment at bullying the lane out, but also giving JJL the Thresh. It's okay against Alistar, but it's going to give you a little bit more lane pressure. But I want to see what it's paired with here on UBC's side, because it matters. If that's a Corki Alistar bottom lane and not the Corki going to mid lane, then this could be a problem. This matchup is fine. I think that either side wins it. It depends on if the phosphorus bombs actually land, and the Alistar gives you some sustain. So in that bot lane, I think both sides are actually going to have an okay time.
We'll find out as the next two pickups, Rek'Sai and Corki, as you mentioned. We'll see where they end up going. Simon Fraser looking now for their top and mid lane. Jungle Elise, AD carry Lucian, and Thresh. It's a big challenge to take LeBlanc into Bobchin. He is a very mechanically skilled player, very proud of his assassin play.
Yeah, but also if you take LeBlanc into Lissandra, there are a couple people who say it's a really good matchup for LeBlanc, where you can jump in and actually trade very quickly and possibly get the Lissandra root off. And her escape, it's hard to get away. So if you land a chain, she can't really do too much, and then you can double chain her, no problem. But there are Lissandras who are able to counter it, and if you buffer your R against the LeBlanc, you'll actually stop her distortion from landing. So there's a way to play around it, but we'll see what happens there, because it looks like it is going to be the LeBlanc for Demnis. And this comp coming together, they have Shock on the Malphite with the Engage, they have an Assassin, they have some pick potential with Thresh and Elise, and then they have Lucian for pretty much consistent damage and a smooth power curve. So generalist composition here that can fight pick, and their wave clear is the only thing that's really questionable here on SFU.
Should be tricky, though they do have, as you mentioned, a lot of pick, Cocoon, Unstoppable Force, even the Thresh hooks for more. Though Kassadin locked in for Bobchin to deal with that. What better way to dodge all that CC than a 6-second blink?
I think he played that at NACC 2015.
He did?
I believe he played that in the finals, and he had a really, really good game on it. And now we haven't seen Kassadin for a good while. Thunderlords does make him rather strong because his burst is just so good. You don't have to wait for level 6 to actually chunk somebody out of lane. If you can get a QE and sneak in an auto, then you're good to go.
Yeah, it's very strong
powerful
combo for Kassadin, but is it the strongest? We want to know who you think is going to take the win. Once again, tweet at uLoL with hashtag SFUwin or hashtag UBCwin to support the reigning champions of the NACC. And we're going to be getting into game in just a second. And this is a very scary setup. SFU, they look like they're bouncing back with a lot of pick, with a lot of engage.
Yeah. They picked up a lot of what UBC used, but not the double AD portion. They picked up the engage of Malphite, and they picked up the Elise for the pick. So they forced Bobchin to go over to the Rek'Sai. And so SFU now has this composition that's pretty generalist. The wave clear is the only question, but then they got counterpicked with the Kassadin in the mid lane, who will be able to run down LeBlanc and go after the squishies later on. But wave clear seems to be not the goal of both compositions. The Corki will help out a decent bit with rockets, but overall there's really nothing like a Victor or something that's going to help you siege or help you stop sieging, or stop sieges. So they're going to be looking for fights.
Yeah, it looks to be an explosive game indeed. And UBC, as we keep saying time and time again, this is a prestigious team. They're playing very, very well. They've got the momentum going into this set. They've also got a bit of a scaling comp on top of this. Kassadin's going to take his time and get absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and you have the mid-game power spike of the Lissandra as well as the Corki. So I think that this is a composition that has smooth spikes to it. You always have somebody who's really going to be taking over the game and trying to get the other members ahead. So once again, UBC, SFU, pretty much fight comps though. They just want to fight.
Yeah, let's look to see if that happens. 4 members once again grouped for UBC as they might look to invade, rushing out of base. As you can tell by the big old words on the screen, we've loaded onto the Rift. And again, it is a 4-man invade, this time following the same side of the map for University of British Columbia. They zone away, talk, play, love, don't want to take any chances getting caught, and just look for a few deep wards on their own.
And you saw Demnis run straight down the mid lane and put that ward down. That's a great ward because the purpose of that ward, it's one that people actually don't use too much anymore, is you spot the enemy mid laner, but you also spot if you go into the enemy jungle, that if they went straight down mid and they came inside of the left bush or they went inside the river bush, then you wouldn't have known that they're there. So they could actually catch you on the retreat. So that's to spot people who are trying to sneak into those brush on either side of mid lane.
Ooh. Talk, play, love. First ward of the game. Gold advantage.
Is that one a little too far forward
Simon
for
Fraser University? Yeah.
It was in turret aggro range or turret vision range.
We did squeeze that in just a bit. But again, in game number 1, Simon Fraser had first blood. Now they've got first turret.
Yeah.
Could see a similar
first ward.
Yep.
It's not quite a turret. It's a mini turret.
Yes. First ward,
it'll
not
grow
turret.
up. It'll grow up.
Do wards grow into turrets? If you leave a pink on the map long enough, will it sprout into a
It takes
turret?
about 300 days.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But what kind of turret will it turn into? An inhib turret? Or
Depends.
just a
Each
tier
turret's
1?
unique and beautiful. They're all different, right? One turret's stronger than the others. The other one, it just shoots a faster laser. Level 2 power spike for the bot lane, though.
Yeah,
gotta watch
the
that.
damage finds JL. Thunderlords not quite able to pick up any early kill, but lane dominance securely in favor of UBC in this bottom lane. While Lissandra abuses that early wave clear to try bullying Shock away.
Pulled into turret aggro, takes a shot.
Super deep, takes a lot of damage. Ignite burns. Heatwaves gets pulled in as well. Takes another turret hit of his own. They're both
flash.
at about 200. They're going forward. Heatwaves dashes Ponchi's going deep. Flash play. 734 goes down. 400 gold. Simon Fraser.
And you just saw the dynamic of this bot lane. It's okay for both matchups, but if you're too far forward and you get hooked or flayed underneath the turret and your team takes one turret shot on each person, well, you're going to lose. And that's exactly what happened, even though UBC had the level 2 power spike over SFU.
Yeah, very solid play from SFU to turn that around, pulling both of those players under the turret early on. With that early gold, that's going to be a double longsword start from Ponchi, looking to abuse this lane as best he can, while Heatwaves and 734 rush down to try to catch what CS they might.
It's unlucky too. Their wave is shoving towards SFU, so SFU is actually going to pick up a decent amount of CS here and not lose out on too much. So that's very unfortunate for UBC in that bot lane.
Things looking a little bit scary in the mid lane. Demnis abusing that Hunters as best he can, corrupting potion as best he can onto Bobchin.
Yeah,
trying to bully Kassadin away before he gets too strong.
Yep. Oh, some of those minions just really wanted to jump under turret. Sometimes you're sitting there, minion looks fine, looks like he's chill, and then something snaps in his head. He's like, I'm diving!
I've had it!
He's like my teammates. You're just laning okay, and then I show up in your lane. Oh, Gavin!
Lee Sin lands a single Q. It's time to go in. Or the worst, it's like, all right, we're sieging here. Whatever you do, don't go in. Then Thresh lands a hook, and everyone dives.
Yep. Oops. So they get to deny some CS here at the start, but look, they're going to try to deny
here
more.
Comes the Dark Passage gank from Talk Play Love. Cocoon doesn't find 734.
Yeah, at that point, you either look for, you probably get bush dominance. You go off to the right side bush, try to get the ward out of 734. If you can't, then you pretty much call off the play, but look for a hook first and then throw the lantern backwards. It's a large minion wave. They wanted to deny it, so I like the thought process of trying to deny the minion wave, but it just didn't work out.
Further shut down the duo lane of Heat Waves.
Shock is getting rather low. He's half HP, and DJJ is able to actually hold on to some of his mana. He can call Proof of Payment up to this top lane, no problem. And if he hits level 6,
oh, down to 200 health right now. Proof is on that side of the jungle, but he's clearing out the wolf camp right now.
Yeah, it's another one of those missed opportunities. I think that you could respond to that fairly easily. Keep him underneath his turret, whether it's with a Prey Seeker to stop his back and his recall as Dijurger pushes the top lane up. But there was also that play last game where they didn't punish a gigantic minion wave coming bottom, where there's one person underneath the turret. And they could have 3-man dive and dove him. So, there's some missed opportunities here, slight optimizations that can be made, but
ooh, yeah, Demnis going a bit too deep for Harass, gets punished by the turret. Forced to take an early recall. Bobchin dings level 6 first in that lane and is keeping up in CS. So Kassadin has officially made it through the most difficult part of the game for him. Now 6 minutes in, everyone's continuing to farm it out. Some action in the jungle as Proof looks to trade it out. They both have smite. No, Talk has smite. He's going to use it to secure that camp. Oh, 734. Ooh, misses his combo.
Yeah, hook misses as well from JJ, so no follow-up there. But
no harm, no foul.
Yeah, no harm, no hook. And it looks like they just CS is pretty close, but there's this gigantic wave for Panchi here, so if he CS's this appropriately, I jinxed him, but no. He'll end up about 5 ahead, maybe 6.
Yeah, moderate amount, not too much. The big thing, again, is that first blood, and only a 400 gold difference between the two teams. I think it's about 450-ish, as you can see.
Oh man, we're going to the tens place now.
Yeah. 454 by my estimate. Yes. And they're continuing to farm it up. Panchi just trying to zone away some CS as best he can, knowing he has that AD advantage with the double long sword. Shock does not teleport back to the top lane, neither does DJJ.
Yeah, no reason to at the moment. He's going to lose out on CS. It's okay. Malphite, but
Proof is going 1v2 here as JJL. Talk Play Love. He dodges the cocoon, but takes so much damage. Tunnel forward ignite is burning. He flashes the wall. Auto attack, and JJL gets the kill.
And Proof of Payment is first blood again. Or sorry, not first blood again. He dies again in his jungle. First blood went down to the bottom lane on 734. But oh man, once again, just that, he saw both of them walking up and decided to stay there. I'm not sure if he was getting people to come towards him on his team on UBC side, but it just looked like Talk Play Love alongside JJL was they're totally ready for it. It's really confusing.
Miscommunication from University of British Columbia. Simon Fraser starts us off with their first dragon and 2 kills. However, that's only about a 600 gold lead between the two. And this gets punished by that Catalyst Hunters of Bobchin as he's farming it out. Yep. Such a tricky lane now.
You have to watch out as well. Bobchin, when he dings 8, he'll have enough HP.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Oh, Heat Waves goes deep. He gets a free kill onto Talk Play Love as he tried to invade the red buff. Now clearing out a pink ward on the way out. Great vision control, and Heat Waves, he's just pulling the trigger on that low health Elise. Very unfortunate situation. Free kill for Heat Waves, netting that kill. Bringing it 2-1, and in fact a gold lead in favor of University of British Columbia. A little bit of a call network for Proof Payment as he starts to clear out Scuttle Crab, and Heatwaves responds. That early sheen and a huge package play gets University of British Columbia right back into the game as if they were never even behind, and now even shoving this wave under the turret.
And those are my favorite. The big package plays where he jumps in. I don't even know if he had adequate vision of the red, but he knew that Elise was in that area with the ward that he had at Raptors. So he'd seen the route and just said, you know what? I'll jump in now.
Yeah.
And
I think he came in from over the dragon pit, didn't he?
No, I think he came in from the top side of red. Or the northern side, north.
But that's just the strength of the package, that he has so much range.
Yeah. It picks up the red off of it, so he's back in the game, 2 CS behind his lane opponent, and has a kill as well. So University of British Columbia actually jump out to a 600 gold lead here, despite being down a kill.
Yeah.
What?
I don't quite know how they're managing to do it. Maybe because of Proof's CS lead in the jungle, nearly 16 ahead.
It's top, mid, and jungle that are ahead for UBC. But it's only 400 gold. We had just seen that in SFU's court a second ago.
10.5 minutes now as the laning phase continues. Looks like Rod of Ages is on the docket for Bob Chin, and Abyssal Scepter looks to be the answer for Demnis as he picks up a Negatron Cloak. Oh, wow. Finishing off too much, and Shock, he is trying to catch so much CS, but Dijurger is relentless.
Yes.
And Talk Play Love, he's only just heading top now.
And Talk Play Love heading top. They saw him with the ward, and DJJ, he'll back off, make sure that he's not pushed up too far, but that turret, it's so close to going down. It is very close to going down in that top lane. And DJJ, he's going to be able to stay in this lane a little bit longer, but you just have to watch out for the Elise. He's got a pink ward off on the side in the river. Talk Play Love's going to try to sneak into the top lane, but meanwhile, Proof's looking at the bottom lane. This is prey. Seeing how they're going to engage these next fights, and there's the hook onto Heatwaves. 734 goes in with the headbutt.
AoE gets tossed, but Ponchi backs away in time. I think they wanted that fight, but then Corky started getting his damage, and they decided to regret it. The Cocoon misses. Dijurger should be able to get out just fine from that attempted gank of Talk Play Love.
Yeah, you have to watch out, though. If DJJ is able to get enough harass in return, they could turn this around because he still has the ultimate, and now there's Proof of Payment up in the top lane. And he waves another hook!
Yeah, another hook. He's forced the Valkyrie out of this one, but as you mentioned, Proof of Payment coming to DJJ's rescue. Demnis takes some damage from Bobchin. He flash ignites the correct one. Demnis pops back. Bobchin is looking for it. The flash. He gets the kill with the ignite. JL manages to find Heatwaves with the long-range hook. Ponchi's coming in, and as you mentioned, that TP joining the fight. Malphite has no ultimate. He lands some damage. Heatwaves heals. He goes down to JJL, and 734 is on his own. He's going to die as well, while DJJ kills Talk Play Love in the top lane.
Oh, there's blood everywhere here. It's not that 1-1 game that we had for so long in the last game. DJJ gets a turret. Him and Proof of Payment kill Talk Play Love in the top lane, and then in the bot lane, we saw 2 kills go over to the side of SFU, both Heatwaves and 734 off a three-man play with a teleport behind it. And then, of course, the mid lane solo kill. I had to cover everything. Bobchin, man, sometimes flash for flash, it's worth it, even if the person dies to ignite.
Yeah. It's a zoning flash.
Yeah. You send in a message.
Exactly. So with that, it's now 4-3 in favor of Simon Fraser, but they're down 1,700 gold as UBC still pretty solidly in the lead as they take that first turret of the game in the top lane. Though if SFU answered to the turret of their own, I'm sure they would be the ones in the gold lead while the farming continues. And UBC, they're butting heads a lot more frequently with Simon Fraser University. It's good to see these signs of life out of a team that in their previous game had a single kill.
Yeah, SFU trying to push these spikes that they have when you have the Essence Reaver and the other person doesn't have the completion of the Trinity Force. You really want to force it. But I do think that there's a little bit of a problem in that mid lane. I think Bobchin's just going to take it over. Again, you can't leave Demnis by himself in this matchup. You have to give it some attention.
Yeah, so hard to trade with that Kassadin. Talk Play Love might be looking to head towards the bottom lane as JJL follows him for a deep warding mission. They're going to see that Proof of Payment is not there, so they don't take any chances, don't get caught out he continues to roam through the jungle to acquire more CS. DJJ continuing to keep the heat onto Shock in that top lane.
Yep. When you see Elise walk through the mid lane and you have an idea of where she is, you're perfectly fine to continue shoving top. But now you see that he backs off because he doesn't know where she is, and she could be coming around the side.
Simon Fraser just pinging out Proof as he respawns. Swifty Boots are going to get him behind them awful quick. 734 goes in, the pull finds it. Dark Passage, and Panchi slides to safety.
Oh, he got headbutted too, but Headbutt is slower now, and Headbutt actually has to make contact with you. It's not something where if I Lucian dash away, it's still going to hit me. So, didn't make contact there, so doesn't end up knocking him out of the lantern. But mid lane, it's going to have some pressure on it here.
Yeah, there is a shove onto Demnis while the wave is being engaged on the bottom. Elise is down there as well, but Toxplay Love can't find the entrance he's looking for. And JJL, he's just zoning them away with a hook, and Heat Waves drops some BM, though Proof, he finds not the person he wants to.
He's too
gonna have
tanky.
to take a tunnel to get out of there, and Demnis watches him go.
Throw a Q. Ugh. Oh, that did nothing.
The Qs, they do nothing. The shove now
But this
onto the
does
bottom
something.
lane. Tier 1 could be taking it. Valkyrie is going to get him to safety as JJL successfully zones away UBC before they can defend.
That was so close. Waiting and running up with the Swifty Boots from JJL, making sure that you flay first, then you hook, because you could have played Mount Valkyrie.
Death Sentence finds 734 and a Cocoon to follow. A full culling is going to barely tickle 734.
Yeah, he still had ultimate as well, but he kept his cool. Made sure that he didn't press that, because he might need it for the next fight.
And a Dragon being started by SFU. This is going to be their second in the game as they take solid control over the bottom lane. And with that secured, everyone's grouping up to head mid. Cassidy, though, should be just fine.
Yeah, Cassidy able to get out with the mobility, pretty safe. You have to watch out for DJJ, but now Trinity Force spike out for Heat Waves. You group up here as UBC. And
there I was saying Cassidy would be fine.
Yeah.
Good hooks from JJL. He's been playing this Thresh very effectively. 100% kill participation so far.
Yeah, they picked this moderately early, I believe, in the pick order, and then they ended up picking up their top laner and their mid laner as their last two picks on SFU. So it's coming up pretty big. I think this bottom lane combination of the Lucian Thresh is working out for them very well. But now Heat Waves with the Trinity Force spike and the package.
Ooh, Dennis narrowly misses his hook. 734 gets pulled in but walks away from the box. Those Swifties so strong, JJL can't find a follow-up hook. Heat Waves gets chunked out as well, and the bottom lane gets turned. Bobchin dodges a hook of his own.
Gotta watch out for Shock. Shock has flash ulti. If Shock is able to get a good flash ultimate off here, he catch Heat Waves and
They can go forward. Shock turns. He's looking for the cork. He pulls it back in, but the hook goes wide. Here comes the teleport from Gerger as Proof joins the fight as well. The AoE is there. They net a quick 2 kills and continue to surge forward. Lissandra doesn't follow the Ice Claw.
Oh man, DJJ came in right then at the right moment and was able to lock people up and get that burst damage down with the Lissandra in the middle of the fight. Shock, no follow-up onto Heat Waves. I believe the hook ended up missing him in midair. So he was knocked up, but he wasn't locked up afterwards. And they're going to be able to take this turret down and get their second one of the game for UBC, and even more pressure. They're just going to be able to open up the map now and start making rotations towards bottom, getting control of whatever objective they want.
Yeah, that's 2 kills now for University of British Columbia, bringing it to 5-4 and a 3,000 gold lead with the turret advantage. Heat Waves looks to take the bottom tier 1, bringing it to a 3 turret. Turrets taken for UBC. Simon Fraser, they just can't respond in time. This turret's going down.
Yeah, once again, the Trinity Force power spike from Heat Waves. You group up with the Trinity Force, you play to that strength, you make sure that you're able to start a fight, and DJJ, his reactions there were pretty much everybody's looking for a fight. So he's ready for it as well. He's making sure that he's not in range of somebody who can interrupt him. He's making sure that he's able to find a TP target. And I'm pretty sure he was just watching that fight the entire time. Because when you have that Trinity Force power spike, you communicate with your team. We are looking for a fight. Look for a TP as soon as you can. All right.
Yeah, not quite able to find it that time around. As once again, just like in game number 1, UBC respond well. Yeah, they didn't make a proactive play. They reacted to something Simon Fraser were trying to do and ended up coming out on top. It seems like Simon Fraser, they just keep butting their heads into this wall of a UBC roster.
And it's the same roster from 2015 that won. So these guys are pretty much titans at this point. SFU, though, they pose a gigantic threat to UBC. UBC isn't challenged by too many schools. In their book, it's University of Toronto, it's Robert Morris University, and Simon Fraser University as the last one that challenge UBC. So there's 3 schools that they really have some question marks about, but after game 1, the way this game is looking for UBC, SFU, they might be able to check off that list.
That would be a very solid point for UBC if they can start this campus series off with 6-0 and 9 points total. Rift Herald has now been secured for UBC. Rocket's not able to secure it. Demnis takes that blue buff. And the dynasty of UBC, it's been under construction for a long time, really only truly erected in 2015. Still standing strong, though. Simon Fraser are looking to chip away at the foundations and break it apart. Can't quite do so just yet.
And I know that it's some of these guys' last year as well, and they want to win it again. They had such a great feeling the previous year that made them want it even more. I know that Proof actually left UBC for a different school and then came back just to compete. So he is very motivated to win this and very motivated to take up a shot calling mantle alongside DJJ to help him out right now. So these guys definitely have victory in their sight. They have first place in their sight again on UBC's side. And they're definitely starting it off right. If they go 6-0 and win all 3 of their matchups in 2-0s, that puts them at 9 points. And you only play 7 matchups.
Yeah.
So they pretty much have about at half the points that they could possibly have in the tournament. But they're looking for that perfect record.
It's more about sending a message at that point. Maintaining the fact that not only did we win last year, we were in the top 4 the year before, and we won the year before that. This is the team, though SFU might be taking a turret as they shove forward. Proof wanders his way into the team, dodging all of the CC as he does so. A hook goes wide, and the turret is still standing.
You have to watch out. Bobchin is off on the side. TP from DJJ is up. If they're able to find a way into this fight, then it would be through that. But DJJ pressuring this top lane, which now means that somebody has to go answer him, possibly 2 people, but then that gives them push advantage in the mid lane. And now look at bot. Bobchin is just pushing bot. You have to allocate resources appropriately, but you have a malfight, so you want to ulti and group as 5. But it's not happening. You're going to lose some turrets on these sides.
There's no answer from SFU. The top tier 2 turret goes down. Shock can't respond in time. Bobchin in the bottom looks to take a tier 2 of his own. He's going to have to pull back as finally Simon Fraser respond, but they've already lost a turret and more than half the health on that bottom one.
That's a big point because that's a turret that you're going to be able to come back to. Looks like Dragon might be the next thing that University of British Columbia want to go towards. And Simon Fraser, they don't have too many answers right now. Look at the inventories. They have the Lucian, who's on a great power spike right now. He has the cooldown reduction maxed from his Essence Reaver, as well as his rapid fire cannon. So he's got a great upfront burst. But Heat Waves, the Trinity Force still keeps you afloat even compared to the 2 item spike Lucian, who's extraordinarily strong.
Very scary situation for Simon Fraser. Shock trades it out just a bit with DJJ. Very tanky now that he's finished his Sunfire and his Spectre's Cowl. Even Talk Play Love shows himself in the top lane as Demnis is going to help bring down that mid tier 1 finally.
So this looks like it's going to be a trade. UBC are trying to get that bottom tier 2 turret with Bobchin, and they get it. But SFU, they want to go to the top side and own this part of the map. But Proof.
Yeah, he's going real deep into no vision. Takes a lot of damage, chunked out to half health, but he's still standing. DJJ gets in. He's able to drop some AoE onto himself, but the wombo from Shock. There's the package, and it is shredding through Simon Fraser University. They're turning it back around. They're taking so much damage. This is a huge cleanup. They haven't lost a single member. UBC take 4 kills and make it look easy.
Oh my god. If you don't know what the package does, it's a 90% slow, and it does about 1,000 base magic damage. It is insane. It is worse than a Rumble ultimate at certain levels. Do not stand on that thing. It gives him like, and he's got a BF sword, right? So it's like a 720% of his AD. It's insane how much damage the package does. Do not walk over that thing.
Yeah, there goes the delayed ace. DJJ is going to be forced to back away. Baron secured for University of British Columbia after that ace. And just like in game number one, they wait until a certain point, and this game has been blown wide open.
I hope we're watching that play again afterwards, because that was just the game-winning play right there. Because SFU, it looked like how they were going to get back into the game, but University of British Columbia shut them down. Heat waves from the side. He's been having an amazing series.
And it looked like a misstep at first. Proof of payment going into 3 members of the enemy team.
Bobchin wasn't there. Bobchin was near the, he was getting bottom turret, remember? He was getting bottom tier 2, and he had to walk all the way there, because it's not a TP Kassadin. So it looked like the best opportunity for SFU, but then over the wall, Shock comes in with a nice Malphite ultimate on 3 people, and then you can't follow up, because Heat Waves comes in right then to stop it. But we'll talk about that more later when we watch the play, because we're probably going to watch that one again.
Yeah, we definitely will. Now it looks like with Baron buff, UBC set up a brief siege in the mid lane. They've got a big wave building in the top that's going to buy them some time. And with mid being the only tier 2 still standing, looks to be the priority, though we could see a potential pick. JJL, Demnis, and Talk Play Love looking for a hook over the wall. But UBC, they just walk around.
There's this gigantic wave on the top side, and when you give so much tankiness to these melee minions, you really want to be able to buff them up and make it so that you waste time, and then other minion waves get to shove in. So they're 1-3-1ing right now. There's an ultimate on Proof of Payment that'll allow him to get towards a fight if it does break out. And then DJJ, he's actually grouped up with his team, and they didn't go for that top wave. They didn't try to shove it out, despite the TP that DJJ has.
Yeah, decided to play it a little bit safe. Now they're looking for the mid tier 2. The hook finds a minion, and JJL eats some punishment.
And you have to go back to champion select here. As soon as one of these teams gets a Baron, it's so difficult for the other team to break the siege. There's no wave clear here on the side of SFU. They have to rely on Lucian culling and Lucian autos, but LeBlanc jumping in is pretty much a death sentence.
Oh, the hook is going to find LeBlanc. There goes the unstoppable force. They're trying to drop the AoE, and it's a complete scatter as DJJ's in the front. Proof in 7-3-4. Buy enough time, but the hook pulls him back under the turret. He's shut down by Panchi, and they're going to break this siege.
And they break it. That's how you break it. You kill someone, you get a hook, and then the Shock ultimate hits, I believe, 3 people again. So SFU still showing life in this game, but it's still more gold going over to UBC. They stopped the siege, but they're just picking up everything on the side of UBC. Their jungle, they're picking up SFU's jungle, and so it's just even more gold, and it's just not making the gap close at all despite that play.
Yeah, the tier 2 turret, the last one standing for SFU, has been dropped, and as you mentioned, that's an 8,500 gold lead for University of British Columbia at 27 minutes into the game, along with wards all over SFU's jungle. A scary position for Simon Fraser.
And this is where UBC, in terms of time, ended the previous game in 26 minutes. So we hit the 27-minute mark here. SFU definitely more kills, more fight in this game, but they ran into the wave clear problem. Baron buff on UBC is gone. So the wave clear problem is not as prevalent right now. It's not as much as a problem as it was just a moment ago. But Dragon...
Yeah, that Dragon's coming up in a minute.
Yeah.
Baron buff still going to be on UBC for just a little while longer. I think it's actually only just fallen off.
Yeah.
And with that, it's actually going to be the second Dragon for UBC if they decide to take it. Simon Fraser might look to contest with Heat Waves trunked out. Hook is going to find Proof, but he is so tanky. He's locked down. It doesn't matter how tanky you are if you can't escape. Pulled out of the tunnel even. And a dark passage for the juke. 7-3-4 goes huge. The fight breaks out. They net the kill. Chasing over the wall. Demnis goes down. And UBC are not stopping as they charge forward. Bobchin with the flank finds a slow onto 2. And they're going to continue rushing forward. Flay prevents any further engage from Proof.
That's a 2 for 0, and once again, SFU, they look like they started that fight. They wanted to pick them off, but nope, TP comes through, Bobchin from the side, Heat Waves comes in as well. All of this damage from UBC, and they're able to take down the squishy members so quickly, and they also have access to that backline with the Kassadin, so it's very difficult to play against this comp when they get ahead.
Yeah, with that, the inhibitor turret goes down. The inhibitor crumbles after. An award even for more vision as they escort the bottom wave into the next inhibitor. Excellent minion wave timing as they charge forward. The hook finds Proof, but he's back at full health as he ulted back in. And the crits are going to turn on to Shock. There's the knock-up. A lot of AoE goes down. Heat Waves is dead. And it looks like UBC are trying to continue fighting, but they don't have enough damage without Heat Waves. They take the turret and leave.
No ulti for DJJ either. And Bobshin's really the big source of damage here. And then some poke, some harass from DJJ. But still, at the end of the day, they trade 1 for 1.
Solid fight from Simon Fraser, finding that pick. Heat Waves overextending. He had his flash.
Yeah, he did. He ended up just getting ulted from the Malphite and blown up in that time. You do have burst with the LeBlanc, but like I said, it's a 1 for 1, so you still don't even end up with that much. You do get a shutdown, but 10,000 gold now is the difference, and that's Dragon number 2 going over to UBC. I doubt it's a 5-Dragon game.
Yeah, and that would be at least another 18 minutes, and at 30, we're seeing a 10,000 gold lead for University of British Columbia. They're going to get some recalls in after securing that second Dragon and scaling up even more. Bloodthirster now being looked at by Heat Waves. Well, an Etherwisp is picked up by Bobshin, probably for a Lichbane, just for even more ouch when Kassadin finds those autos.
I think Lichbane and Ludens are both okay. Ludens Echo is quite unique on him too. But yeah, the Lichbane with the cooldown reduction gives you something that it didn't before for Kassadin. Right? It basically makes it so that you don't even need to worry about a Chalice ever, because you have the Rod of Ages, you have the extra CDR that you needed from before. So I like that pickup. I like the movement speed. It makes you even more difficult to deal with.
We'll see how they continue to put pressure on. Baron's up in 20 seconds, and currently 2 members of Smite Steal for Proof. I think he actually managed to snag that blue away. He did. Talkplay Love didn't smite, and Demnis doesn't have it. Demnis. And Baron's up in 6 seconds. Shock has just shown himself on near the bottom side. He's got teleport, so too does Gerger, and the remaining members of UBC are grouped up around that Baron pit.
Yeah, they want to do the Baron, and they can pretty much start it right now. DJJ pushing the bottom wave. He's going to crash against that inhibitor very shortly. He's backing up, making sure that he has a way to TP in, if possible. So he's keeping his distance from Shock, because he wants to flank.
Yeah, the Baron is going
There's
low.
the
Down to
TPs.
2,000 TPs are coming in. There goes the flash. It's not going to be enough as Baron is secured. Elise flies up. Heat Waves is forward. He's forced to take the package to safety. Ponchi gets destroyed by DJJ on the back. Finished off by Proof of Payment. JJL buys some time, but it's not enough. Demnis is being hunted down by Bobchin. Heat Waves at such low health is still standing. There's nothing that can bring them down. UBC take 4 kills. They've got the Baron and an open inhib in the mid lane. They could try to end this.
They're looking for the 6-0 in week 3 here of the uLoL Campus Series. University of British Columbia, 2015 NACC champions. They are starting off on the right foot to be the uLoL Campus Series champions.
Yeah, Proof of Payment is on the hunt. He's found JJL, who's just giving a bit of BM as he buys some time. The rest of UBC drop the Nexus turrets and drop the Nexus itself. Looking to go 6-0 and ending up 6-0.
That's the dream. The dream is alive. They want to go undefeated throughout this tournament, and they just beat their crosstown rivals. They said they didn't want them to win despite it being a friendly rivalry, but they come home with a very kind of brutal victory. Yeah. They were able to make these games pretty much as short as they possibly could. They played around their power spikes, and UBC talking about making a legacy, making an era of the UBC esports. It looks like it's starting to happen.
Yeah, the foundation is in place. The only thing left for them to do is actually secure that big old win and end up taking the entire series. And with play like this, you got to start wondering, can they do it?
I don't think it's so much of a question because they did it before with this exact same roster for UBC. And this fight, you look at the minimap, Bobchin, he's rift walking as much as possible. Shock's going to come over the wall. He's actually going to get a 3-man knockup, but then they want to follow up, and Heatwave's like, no! And the 90% slow.
My God.
And then everybody just throws out damage there. The clone was still slowed the entire time of LeBlanc. It's just so crippling. Avoid it. Avoid it, avoid it, avoid it. You do not want to ever walk into the package, ever.
Yeah.
If somebody got a package, don't take it. Don't take it.
If somebody tries to give you a package you didn't sign for, just don't. Let airport etiquette, people.
Yes, exactly.
So, especially with the quirky on the flying plane, it just They line up sometimes and it works
Illuminati.
out. But okay, so SFU going 0-2 against UBC, they still played remarkably well. In game number 1, they had some trouble, but game number 2, we saw some really solid signs of life.
Yes, of course, they did end up with way more kills. That fight that we just saw was a big sign of life for them, where they were trying to get back in the game. It was the right play. They saw Cassidy bottom, but just the timing of the package, the fact that the package had come up right before that, and he was able to pick it up and just jump in, is just poorly timed. Sometimes you have to think about, can I make this play while the package is on? But in retro, hindsight is 20/20.
Of course.
But SFU, they do start off 4-2. It's not the worst score. They still have 6 points, and they've already 2-0'd other people. So they got 3 points 2 times. They're all good. And then they make this fight, and it looks like some people are going to go down here. And then Shock trades for DJJ at the end of it all.
Yeah, it shows more that SFU were
DJJ
capable.
goes down 1. Yeah,
Yes.
there's a different fight where he got traded, but
Yeah, that was differently.
Yeah.
But it shows more that they are capable, while down 6 kills and a Baron, that they're still able to find picks and play on their head. JJL on that Thresh, man, he had some hooks.
Yeah, JJL picking up the Thresh, I think this is a champion that he's going to be going towards a little bit more often. I think that it's a champion that suits him well. I think that the team can learn to play around it a little better as well. But SFU, despite it being an 0-2, they don't look like a team that's going to not make the conference. They're playing in the West. It's a very strong region. It's historically the strongest region in University League of Legends. So I think that they have a lot of competition, but I still think that they're able to make it to that top 4 and make it in the conference playoffs, where they could get an opportunity to try and get double revenge on UBC.
So
knock them out of quarters.
Yep.
And just
2015, SFU got 0-2'd by UBC and eliminated from the NACC 2015. They've just gotten 0-2'd again. It's going to be a long road for them to climb. But let's actually take a look at our schedule for the next few weeks. We've got an exciting set coming up next week. We're going to be going a little bit older, heading over to Boston to watch Harvard take on Boston University.
Yeah, oh man, Harvard's league team. You'd expect them to be incredibly smart about the game. We'll see what happens. But Boston University, big rivalry there.
Yeah, there certainly is. Similarly, crosstown rivals, much like our Canadian week between UBC and Simon Fraser. And again, if you want to know more about the uLoL Campus Series and perhaps find a club of your own that you could join and participate in our 1v1 challenge, head over to ulol.leagueoflegends.com. We've got VODs, we've got standings, players. I think we're even getting some bios up there soon, aren't we?
Oh.
Just might be.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But again, that's going to be it from us. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the uLoL Campus Series. And come back next week for more uLoL League of Legends action.